You know, while reading the manga of this one, I thought it wouldn't be as uncomfortable in the anime. I was wrong. Hello everybody, my name is MeisterBloo, and today I took a look at the 6th episode of the first season of Monster Musume, simply titled Everyday Life with Shedding and Egg Laying. And yes, it is as awkward as that title would suggest. The first part of this episode, the A story, actually takes place only about Mia and Kimihito, because all the other creatures are not there at the beginning of this episode. They appear later on, about the halfway point. Mia is in the kitchen trying to cook something delicious for her darling Kun, but it is proven that just like many anime girl characters, for some reason, they don't know how to cook. There doesn't seem to be too much of a middle ground between that. They either don't know how to cook at all or know how to cook amazingly. I haven't really seen many middle grounds there in anime. But yeah, she burns her hands on the stove because she's not paying attention, because her mind is somewhere else, and because of that she has to wear bandages all over her hands, which comes at a horrible time because she has started to shed. Yes, like snakes, she loses the outside of her skin, leaving a new, fresher version underneath. However, she's extremely embarrassed about this, more so than she normally would be, because apparently shedding is, like, more humiliating than being caught naked to Lamia. But she's even more so because it's a type of imperfect shedding, as Kimihito put it. It's something that, like, something that happens sometimes with other reptiles that shed. They don't shed, like, a perfect outline of their skin, sometimes it's blotchy or whatnot. He suggests that it might have something to do with stress, and if that's the case, he says he's really willing to help her with this if she wants him to, because he doesn't want her to stress out and he doesn't want her to feel embarrassed or anything. That leads to the first of the uncomfortable moments in this episode, where we have him attempting to remove this skin off of her, which is apparently, like many other things to Mia, one of the most arousing things of her life. I'm starting to think it might be easier to decide what's not arousing to her, because that'd be a much smaller list. But yes, it's a very awkward scene. It was very awkward in the manga, and it's just as awkward in the show. Even more so, I had to turn the volume down. I'm like, I don't want the people outside to hear this. But yes, he gets the skin off, and he has to move to her belly section. Her belly and inner thigh section. This is such a weird show. I will say this though, out of this entire experience of the whole shedding part of this episode, the only upside was all the analogies that came when he accidentally sticks his hand somewhere where it shouldn't go. I believe the very first of these analogies showed the picture of a snake like entering through one of those like tarps that are, like you see in anime, are covering like spa entrances and whatnot, and the snake just goes boom and just pops right in there, and it's just so many analogies of things inserting, and it's just the most uncomfortably wrong thing ever. We then find out at the very end that all the others were gone because Mia decided to test her cooking on them, and they all got pretty much poisoned from it. And we find that out just as Kimihito is eating the food that she made as a thank you. The second half of this episode focuses on Poppy, and I would be okay with this, because Poppy is probably one of the cutest of them all. Except that it is even more uncomfortable than the shedding part, if you can believe that. This, it starts with all of them watching him as he comes into the house. He's like, yeah, they had a cool sale going on at the grocery store. And then Poppy says, I'm gonna lay an egg. Yep, that's where we're gonna go with this half. There is humor in this part though, more humor than there was in the previous part, because the previous part had like one funny moment, that's about it. This one has a little more humor in it than that one, in that right when she says she's going to have an egg, the next thing we see is Kimihito in a heap on the floor, and all the other girls holding weapons of some kind, and he's just bruised and whatnot, and they're like, oh, it's an unfertilized egg, okay. Meanwhile, he's like dying on the floor. Best part about this is that in the background, it shows Sue, and she's got what looks like a broomstick or whatnot, and it's like, it's appearing as if she was part of the beat-em-up gang. Which she might have been, she probably was, but she looks like she's having the best time. She's like looking at the stick, and swinging it around and everything. It made me think that she didn't actually hurt him, she just really wanted to be part of the crowd with the weapons. And then a creeper guy shows up. A creeper guy who's just as creepy as he was in the manga pops up. He's this guy claiming to be a movie director working with the Interspecies project and whatnot, and says that we don't have any documented footage of like a harpy laying an egg, so I'm here to document this, and I'm going to interview all the other ones. And at first glance, this guy is bad. You see this guy and you're like, no, this is not somebody you let into the house. This is somebody that you close the door on and call the police immediately because they are here to do damage. Unfortunately, no one else sees this, and everyone's like, alright, yeah, let's come on in and do the interviews and whatnot. And Poppy's like, I'm gonna have the egg yet, so he's like, oh, it's okay, I'll just go to the other rooms, and he goes to all the other girls' rooms and does the creepiest stalker stuff imaginable. This is the guy who is like the poster child of the guys that don't take no for an answer, the guys that don't get the hint that you if they say no, you don't do anything. He is the worst, and thankfully, I know what happens to him. So he goes to room to room, harassing the girls, being the worst piece of garbage on the planet, and then they finally go in, and it's a really weird scene when Poppy's having the egg. You never actually see it or anything, thank God, but it's really weird because it makes it sound like she's aroused by all of this and whatnot, which, I don't know, maybe that would be the case, but I don't know. But the thing is, it's like, it tries to play this scene off as like a sexy scene, and I'm like, this isn't sexy. It's like, it's not a sexy scene, you don't do this. But it tries to anyway, and it's just awkward, and we find out that Sue now has a new ability in this very awkward scene, in that she can apparently read people's minds just by sticking her little, like, head thing on their head. So she's reading this guy's mind as he's trying to record this and saying all the stuff that's going through his head, like, oh, I can't wait to make $1 million off this, like, that's 3 million yens for a harpy egg, this is gonna be awesome. And because of that, all the girls are like ready to beat the crap out of him. Oh, I was so waiting. I want them to beat the crap out of him, it would be so great, but it's against the law for them to hurt a human. They would get in huge trouble even if it was justified. So Kimihito tosses the egg in front of him, and he's like, oh, the egg! And then right as the egg's like right in front of his face, Kimihito does that same like epic mega punch that he did in the first episode, right in this guy's face, sending him into a heap, destroying the camera, everything. Everyone's like, yeah, good job! And then they're like, wait, you broke the egg! But no, it wasn't the egg, it was another egg that he had bought from the grocery store. He just wanted to get the guy's attention off of Poppy. And then Poppy has the egg after they almost break Kimihito's face to make it so he doesn't see anything, and the episode ends with a really cool moment with Sumisa-san, because she actually has a serious moment where she leans in and says, like, that guy didn't have that guy's ID and everything, it was false, the address you can contact him and the phone number, those aren't real, but we're going to look into this. And it was like the only time we've ever seen Sumisa-san, like, look serious and like actually seem like she takes her job seriously at all. Which is good because I know what's going to come in the next episode, which was previewed by showing that creepy guy back at his home, talking about how he's going to get back at them, like spinning webs saying, I have to sell more thread to make more money to buy a new camera and everything. And then we see her, Arachne, my favorite girl in this show, my favorite girl in this show. And yes, she is a giant spider. I'll see you guys all in the next episode. Until then, everybody, peace out.